Welcome back to Bella Mufc Analysis. I'm Bella. If you are new here, do yourself a favour right now, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, because if you are a United fan who wants the real analysis, the honest opinion and the full picture, this is exactly where you need to be. And if you are already part of this community, you know the deal. We go deep, we go honest, and we go full passion. Today, we have got a lot to unpack, and I mean a lot. Because Monday night at Old Trafford left us all asking serious questions. Manchester United lost 2-1 to Leeds United. Leeds at home in the Premier League for the first time since 1981. Let that sink in. Since Brian Flynn scored in the Old First Division, Leeds had never won a league game at Old Trafford until Noah Okafor made history on Monday night with a first-half brace that silenced a 74,000 crowd and had the Stretford end walking out at half-time with boos ringing through M16. Now, stay with me all the way to the end of this video because we are not just talking about what went wrong on Monday, we are talking about what has to change before Saturday evening because Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is coming fast. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. And that game is enormous. That is a direct 6-pointer in the race for the top 5 and Champions League football. And if Carrick does not solve this midfield puzzle right now, that dream could get very uncomfortable very quickly. Let us get into it. Let us be clear about where Manchester United actually are right now because context matters enormously. When Michael Carrick walked through the doors at Carrington in January, this club was a wreck. Ruben Amorim had been sacked after guiding United to their worst Premier League era finish the previous season, 15th place, 15th. Darren Fletcher had been handed the reins briefly, but could not register a single win, including a 2-2 draw with Burnley that told you everything about where this club had sunk to. Then Carrick arrived, and what he has done since January has been nothing short of remarkable. 7 wins from his first 10 Premier League games. The club lifted from 7th place all the way up to 3rd. Bruno Fernandes revitalised in an advanced role. Kobbie Mainoo finally given the platform he deserved. Harry Maguire restored to something resembling his England best at the back. Benjamin Sesko becoming a super sub sensation off the bench. New signings Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha flourishing. The atmosphere at Old Trafford, 23 points from a possible 30. Think about that number. That is title challenging form, and Champions League football confirmed for the top 5 now sits within genuine reach with just 6 games remaining in this season. So the defeat on Monday night has to be seen in that wider context. This is still a massive success story, but it is also a story with a vulnerability, and that vulnerability was brutally exposed when Kobbie Mainoo was ruled out with a minor training injury just hours before kickoff. Here is the honest truth about Kobbie Mainoo. And under Ruben Amorim, this young man was frozen out. He did not start a single Premier League game under the Portuguese manager. His brother turned up to Old Trafford in a free Kobbie Mainoo shirt. There were serious conversations about a loan move in January. It was a desperate, painful situation for one of the most talented young midfielders in English football. Then Carrick arrived, and everything changed. Suddenly, Mainoo was undroppable. Suddenly, that partnership between Mainoo and Casemiro in central midfield became the engine room of United's revival. The 20-year-old gave Carrick exactly what the system needed: energy, technical quality, press resistance, and the ability to carry the ball forward and play between the lines. Gary Lineker joked that Mainoo should take legal action against Amorim for the damage done to his career. That joke tells you everything about how completely this player was misused and how central he has become to what Carrick has built. So when news broke on Monday that Mainoo had picked up a minor issue in training and would not be available against Leeds, not even on the bench, the mood around Old Trafford shifted immediately, and that instinct, as it turned out, was completely correct. Michael Carrick made a decision on Monday that, with the benefit of hindsight, cost Manchester United. With Mainoo absent, he turned to Manuel Ugarte to fill the role in central midfield. It was Ugarte's first start under Carrick since the interim manager took charge in January. And the warning signs were already there before a ball had even been kicked. United have won just 1 of the 9 matches Ugarte has started this season, 1 from 9. That is the damning statistic that frames everything that happened on Monday night. Now, to be fair to Ugarte, and yes, we have to be fair here, the 25-year-old is not a bad footballer, but he is a very specific type of footballer. He is a defensive midfielder, a ball winner, a shield in front of the back 4. When Casemiro is operating as the more progressive of the 2 deeper midfielders, Ugarte's role is to sit, screen, win the ball and recycle simply. That is his game. That is what Paris Saint-Germain bought him for and what Manchester United paid for in 2024. He is not a Kobbie Mainoo. He cannot play with the same freedom in the half spaces. He cannot drive forward and he cannot absorb pressure on the ball and manipulate tight spaces under a high press. And Leeds, managed by Daniel Farke, came to Old Trafford with a very specific game plan: press high and press relentlessly, target United's midfield, force mistakes. And the moment Ugarte was in that starting lineup, Leeds had found exactly the target they were looking for. Within 10 minutes, Ugarte hesitated on the ball in the middle of the park. The Old Trafford crowd reacted immediately. Jeers rang out. Not out of cruelty, out of anxiety. United fans know what they were watching. They had seen it before. And from that moment on, Ugarte never recovered. His passing was wayward throughout the first half. His movement was static. He had no answers to the Leeds press. And the partnership with Casemiro, which the Sky Sports commentary team rightly described as the Ugarte-Casemiro double act last seen in the miserable run that ended Amorim's tenure. 3 games without a win, including this exact opposition, was resurrected in the worst possible way. By the time Noah Okafor had scored his second goal in the 29th minute with a deflected effort that left Senna Lamens helpless, the tone of the evening had been set entirely by what happened in central midfield. Carrick defended Ugarte post-match. Of course he did. That is what a manager does. Since I've come in and he's played and he's come on, he's been fine, Carrick said. Tonight was a tough game, not just for Manu. I actually thought, especially when we went down to 10 men, he did a lot of covering for other players to be able to attack. Those words are fair, they are measured, but they also tell you that Carrick is aware there was a problem here, even if he is not going to say so publicly the night of the game. And then Lisandro Martinez made everything worse. The Argentine defender, playing because Harry Maguire is suspended, returned to the starting lineup having missed 5 games with a calf injury. He partnered Lenny Yoro in central defence. And in the second half, with United already 2 goals down and fighting to get back into the game, Martinez was spotted by VAR pulling Dominic Calvert-Lewin's hair. It took a review to catch it, but once the officials saw it, there was no escape. Red card. Lisandro Martinez, one of the most experienced defenders at this club, reduced United to 10 men at 2-0 down. Carrick called it one of the worst refereeing decisions he had seen. And honestly, on the hair pull specifically, you can understand his frustration. It was a strange and needless act rather than violent conduct in the traditional sense. But whether you agree with the decision or not, the fact is that it happened and it is going to have consequences. Martinez now faces a suspension that could rule him out for multiple matches, including Chelsea on Saturday. More on that in a moment. What is remarkable is what United did after going down to 10 men. Casemiro headed home a corner, his goal, to give the Reds genuine belief. United had chances. Sesko's header was well saved by Carl Darlow. Casemiro had another header cleared off the line by Calvert-Lewin himself. Ugarte had a shot blocked from close range. 7 minutes of added time were played. United pushed and pushed, but Leeds held on, and in a strange, bittersweet way, United's performance with 10 men was better than their performance with 11. Bruno Fernandes, captain and talisman, made his presence felt with a beautiful assist as the comeback nearly happened. It almost made the whole thing worse. We were right there. Noah Okafor wrote himself into Leeds United folklore on Monday. The Swiss forward, signed from AC Milan, became the player who ended a 45-year wait for a Leeds League win at Old Trafford. The last time Leeds won a league game on that ground, it was 1981. The last time they won at Old Trafford in any competition was when Jermaine Beckford scored in the FA Cup in 2010. That was the year Wayne Rooney was scoring worldies at the World Cup a long time ago. Daniel Farke's side, currently embroiled in a survival battle, but also FA Cup semi-finalists, produced the performance of their season on Monday night. They were organised, sharp, physical and clinical. They executed their game plan to perfection, and they deserve enormous credit for that. For United fans, this result stings even more because of what could have been. A win on Monday would have opened a 10-point gap between United in 3rd and Chelsea in 6th. Instead, the gap remains at 7 points. Still healthy, still manageable, but the margin for error has shrunk. And Chelsea, who are directly behind United in this race, are now the opponents in 5 days' time. This is the heart of the story. This is what you have been waiting for. If Kobbie Mainoo is not fit for Chelsea on Saturday, and Michael Carrick confirmed after the match that it is a minor injury and Mainoo has a chance to return, then Carrick cannot make the same mistake twice. He cannot send Manuel Ugarte back into that midfield in a ball-playing role and expect different results at Stamford Bridge against a Chelsea side with quality all over the pitch. The solution is hiding in plain sight, and it is actually a solution that comes from the man Carrick replaced. Under Ruben Amorim, for all his faults at United, and there were many, one thing he tried to do was use Bruno Fernandes in a deeper central midfield role. At the time, it baffled most United fans. Fernandes is the captain, he is the creator, he is the man who has just broken David Beckham's United record for assists in a Premier League season with 16 and counting. Putting him deeper seemed like a waste, but here is the thing. If Mainoo is absent, Fernandes dropping slightly deeper into a double pivot alongside Casemiro suddenly makes a great deal of sense, not as deep as Amorim wanted, but a hybrid role sitting just behind his usual position, giving the midfield an extra layer of technical quality on the ball and press resistance. Fernandes is intelligent enough to adapt. He is experienced enough to manage the demands of both roles, protecting the space defensively and providing creativity going forward. And the player who benefits most from that shift is Mason Mount. Mason Mount was on the bench against Leeds on Monday. He has been fighting his way back from yet another injury setback, a familiar story for this 27-year-old whose time at Old Trafford has been relentlessly disrupted by physical problems since his arrival. But Mount is a different kind of midfielder to Ugarte. He is technically sharp, he works relentlessly, he presses effectively, he can operate between the lines, he has Premier League quality in abundance, and on Saturday night, he plays against his former club, Chelsea, the club he captained, the club that made him, the club that will have a crowd ready to give him a difficult evening. That kind of motivation is priceless. Players rise to those moments, and Mason Mount, for all the bad luck with injuries, is absolutely the sort of character who will want to be on that pitch making a statement at Stamford Bridge. Carrick has not yet had the chance to properly integrate Mount into his plans since taking over in January. Injuries have kept breaking that process, and the Chelsea game is the perfect opportunity to build that connection. And if United can get Fernandes, Casemiro, now let us zoom out, because as raw as Monday night feels, we need a sense of proportion here. Manchester United are third in the Premier League, 7 points clear of 6th place Chelsea, with 6 games remaining. Champions League football is confirmed for the top 5 since Michael Carrick took over in January. United have won 23 points from a possible 30. Their only defeat before Monday was a 2-1 loss to Newcastle, and even that result was contentious. BBC reporter Simon Stone described Monday's defeat as uncharted territory for Carrick, who has seemed so unflappable since replacing Ruben Amorim. And that is the right framing. This is the first real test of Carrick's character as a manager at this level. How does he respond? How does he adjust? How does he prepare his players for one of the most demanding away games remaining in this season? Reports from Team Talk and 442 this week suggest that Carrick is now firmly on course to be named Manchester United's permanent manager this summer. Former Everton chief executive Keith Wyness, speaking to Football Insider, has said the decision is now down to 2 names, Carrick or Julian Nagelsmann. And Wyness believes Carrick is the favourite, saying there would be a real problem with the fans if he did not get the job, having delivered Champions League qualification. But this week matters for that conversation too. Ineos are watching everything, every decision, every team selection, every tactical adjustment, and how Carrick handles this Leeds setback in the press conference, and most importantly at Stamford Bridge on Saturday, will say a great deal about whether he has the qualities for the permanent role. Let us also address the defensive situation, because it complicates everything for Saturday. Harry Maguire was already suspended for Leeds due to a red card against Bournemouth. He could return for Chelsea depending on the length of his ban. That is something to monitor closely this week. Lisandro Martinez will now face his own suspension after the red card on Monday. The length of the ban is critical. If it is a straight 1-game suspension, United will be without Martinez for Chelsea. If the FA decide to appeal the length, the situation gets complicated. Euro will almost certainly partner whoever is fit at centre-back. The defensive unit that Carrick has rebuilt so carefully now faces a genuine test of its depth, and that is before you factor in that Chelsea are a dangerous attacking side who will fancy their chances against a United defence disrupted by suspensions and the disrupted rhythm that comes from a heavy defeat. Right, Saturday, Stamford Bridge, 8 o'clock. Here is what Manchester United need. First, the midfield must be sorted. If Mainoo is fit, he starts. Simple as that. No more experiments with Ugarte in a ball-playing role. But if Mainoo is still not available, Carrick must be brave and make the tactical adjustment. Fernandes deeper, Mount or a recovered alternative in the advanced midfield role. Casemiro providing the anchor. That combination gives United technical quality, press resistance, and the creativity to cause Chelsea problems on the counter. Second, United need to recapture the defensive solidity that made the first part of this Carrick era so impressive. Clarity in the back four, no rash decisions, no red cards, the kind of calm, organised defending that Carrick demanded and largely got before Monday's chaos. Third, the front three must deliver. Mbeumo and Cunha and the impact of Sesko off the bench have been weapons throughout this run. Chelsea will have to cope with pace and directness. That has caused problems for every team United have faced under Carrick. It must happen again at Stamford Bridge. 7 points, 6 games. The Champions League is right there. One result on Saturday does not define this season, but it will shape the mood, the momentum, and the perception of Michael Carrick heading into the final stretch. We need our team back. We need our players to respond, and we need our manager to make the right calls. I want to end this broadcast with something important. Through all of the noise of Monday night, the boos at half-time, the red card, the history of Leeds winning at Old Trafford for the first time since 1981, the Ugarte frustration, I still believe in this Manchester United team. I believe in Kobbie Mainoo, who has gone from a player being hidden by his own manager to one whose absence literally changes how United function. That is the definition of irreplaceable. I believe in Bruno Fernandes, who fought with everything he had for 90 minutes on Monday night and whose assist in the second half showed that his class is always present, always available. I believe in Michael Carrick, who took this broken, demoralised 17th in the Premier League club in January and has built something real, something that feels like Manchester United again, something that makes you want to watch, something that makes you care. 1 defeat, 2-1 to a motivated, well-organised Leeds side. It hurts. Of course it hurts, but 7 points with 6 games remaining is still a very strong position. Champions League football is still in our hands. The mission continues on Saturday night at Stamford Bridge. And if Carrick takes the lessons from Monday, fixes the midfield, brings in the right players, and sends this team out with the right plan, I genuinely believe United can go to Chelsea and get the result that puts this week behind us for good. This is what being a United fan is about. It is not about the easy night. It is about the nights when it goes wrong and you have to believe anyway. So believe, because the Reds are not done yet. That is the show for today, United family. If you found this breakdown useful, and I really hope you did, then please hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps this channel reach more United fans around the world. Share this video with your fellow Reds. Get the debate going. And if you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Mainoo will be fit for Chelsea? Should Carrick play Mount? Is it time to admit the Ugarte experiment is over? I want to hear everything you think. Thank you for staying until the very end. You are the reason United Daily Update exists, and we will be back very soon with all the build-up to one of the biggest games remaining in this Premier League season. Up the Reds, always.